Hi. We decided
Welcome
to
back
do
to the new season.
a new season.
The new
Oh, look,
season.
I found a house already. It's Chad's house. It's got a beacon and everything.
This is still a continuation of the old season.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, did I tell you about? I told you about the class that I'm in for the fire department. That's like an online class, the one that they said could never be done online, but now they've made it online.
Okay. Why could it not be online?
So I didn't tell. Okay, so starting from the beginning, which is like 2 years ago, I had two classes left for my promotion. One was officer one, and one was instructor one. An instructor just teaches you how to be an instructor. And I signed up for both the classes, and I showed up for the first day, and there was one other guy there, and we sat there for a while, and then we went and found somebody, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, we were supposed to tell you that these classes they canceled them due to low enrollment. There wasn't enough people. It was just the two of you guys." Okay, so there goes that. I had all my schedule all worked out to be able to take these classes, and okay, and
It's bullshit. They don't tell you ahead of time. You're like, you're here
yeah, they're
now.
supposed to, and they for whatever reason didn't. But so I start emailing somebody the next day, and I said, "Look, I'm gonna ask, how can I get equivalency for instructor one and potentially instructor two?" Said I'm, currently this is before I had a doctorate degree, but I had a multiple master's degrees. I said, not only do I do at my job, part of training is one of my job roles. I said I'm also an adjunct faculty at a university teaching bachelor's degree students, teaching a course for bachelor's degree students. And they were like, "Oh well, yeah, your academic achievements look very well, but it still doesn't constitute instructor one course." And I was like, "Well, then can you tell me at least, if you're not going to let me have equivalency for this?" And I linked them to a bunch of them. I said, "I see a bunch of these offered online through these different agencies throughout, the United States. Can you tell me if you've accepted or would accept any of these in the past? Because these are what I would have to pay for because they're not through my county. And I wanted to make sure that they're going to accept them before that they would, before I paid for them and took them. They're like, yeah, sorry, it just doesn't work." And the guy said, "There's no way you could learn the skills you need to learn in a class like this online," was his response. And I was like, well, what the fuck? So time passes. I signed up for this class again through a different county, but it's still in Maryland, so it still could be free to me, and we're still eligible for it. And this time, I don't get into that class because there's too many people in it, and I didn't make the wait list. So I've been kicked out of this class once because it was low enrollment, and the next time I was able to take it, there was too many people that took it, and literally there was 30 spots in a class, and there was 75 people signed up for
Holy shit.
Yeah.
If there's that many, they should start a second class. Or is there no instructor?
They only allow 15 in a class, actually. They did start a second class because there was that many, but that still only covered 30 spots of the
Jesus
75.
Christ. Okay.
So they claim they couldn't get enough instructors.
Okay.
So this whole COVID crap happens. All of a sudden, they're offering fucking everything online now, including the classes that I understand why they didn't think they could do online. But instructor is one that they easily should have always been able to do online.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't. So, of course, I signed up for this class. There's like 104 people or whatever signed up for this class.
Oh, my gosh.
But this time, I knew there was a bunch of people signed up for it because of the ease and the convenience of it. And they went through, and it was a night class, like 3 hours a night for like 12 different nights. And that's kind of annoying. My wife is a little pissed because, it's going to take up because it starts tomorrow. And it takes up all this time for, the kids' bedtime and things like that. Leaves her kind of alone with the kids and, the time when everything's going crazy with them. But she accepts it because she knows I need to get it done. And I've tried before. Well, then they send us an email and say, "Look, there's so many people signed up for this. We're opening up these other two classes, day shift classes. So 9 a.m. until noon." And so I worked it out with my boss. I said, "Hey, what do you think? What if I went to this class and I took some vacation time on the days of these classes?" And she was like, "Look, you can do that. You probably don't necessarily need to take vacation for all those days because if you do them at work, you could probably still do work like on the side." She knows how this stuff goes. So she's very lenient. It was like, yeah, do it. Go for it. Just kind of mark your time however you need to mark your time, like for, PTO if you really couldn't do anything else or, just, work. So I'm like, great. And I jumped over to a class as quickly as I could because I knew if I jumped over to a class, I'd be the first one, like one of the first people in it.
Right.
There's still so many people in this class. I had to open a fourth class. So there's now 4
Jesus
classes
fucking Christ.
online that they could never do. So there was a class that started tonight. The original class I was in was the night class. It should have been tonight from 7 until 10 p.m. There's now a day class that starts tomorrow. There's a day class that starts Thursday, and there's a day class that starts Friday. So those are the 4 classes that they have going on for this thing. So yesterday at 4, like after there's multiple emails about these classes, about where the wait lists and getting people moved to these classes and trying to accommodate everybody and this and that. But that's all they're talking about is this. So yesterday they send out a final, okay, classes are all arranged. Here's a list of all the people and what classes they're in. We're still looking for, like, there's still these 10 people that are not going to, if they stay in the class that they're in, they're not going to make it because they're just, the wait list is so much. So urging people to move to the other class. And at the very bottom of the email, it says, and don't forget to come and pick up your books from the training academy. The hours to do that are, and it was 4:15 already. It was 6 to 8 o'clock yesterday night, but I was on shift at the fire department.
Oh my gosh.
Or 10 to 12 p.m. today or tomorrow, and that is it.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is an online class. The day before the class starts, you tell me I have to.
This all seems to be ran very poorly.
To the academy, which is an hour and a half from my house.
Oh my gosh.
During business hours when I'm working to pick up these books.
I can't believe I didn't mail it to y'all.
That's what I thought. I thought it'd be online. They have these books online now.
That's true too. Yeah.
PDF versions of these books, they exist. I don't know why they didn't do that. And so frustrated. So I figured out, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just kind of like sneak and work from home today because I didn't get permission for this, and just, I'll stick around the fire department for a couple hours, get on to, oh, I used the wrong fire wick and it hurt me. I'll just get onto my computer in the morning, do some work, and then drive up there to the academy because it's closer from there, but then I have a long ways to go home. Drive to the academy and get this book, 10 to 12. And it says on there how make sure you social distancing, blah, blah, blah. You have to come, make sure you have your face covered before you come into the academy. The whole reason they're doing these things online is they don't want people like in the classroom together. So I show up and I sit in the parking lot for a while because I got there early. I should have gone in there a little bit earlier, but I was still like, I walk in the door and I was the 4th person that walked in, and now it's only like 15 minutes before 10 o'clock. See a buddy of mine that I had a class with recently. So we sit down on the couches and start bullshitting that are in this little lobby area. And as we're sitting there in the next 10 minutes, like 30 people end up being in this lobby, all just waiting around. The guy comes out of the elevator with all the books at 10 o'clock on the nose, but it's boxes and boxes of books. He then spends the next 20 minutes like pulling out individual pieces of paper. He won't let anybody come get their books or anything yet because he needs to get all these papers organized so he can keep himself organized. So he doesn't even get to handing out books until about 10:20, and then it's only 2 at a time based on the order you came in, and hopefully you guys know what order you came in. Luckily, like, I was early enough that it was like these 2 guys that were there in front of me, and like me and this other guy that were there, like we knew where we were at, so I got there. In there, you have to fill out 5 fucking pieces of paper.
Oh my gosh.
Front and back, which I've taken multiple classes at the academy. The book form is, you circle the book and you put a signature on it, and it's the signature that says, I know this is the book, I know this is how much it costs. If I don't return it, I owe you money. I've never seen these other pieces of paper in my life. Don't know what they are, where they came from, why it took so long. But I'm still just livid that the day before my online class starts, that I'm taking mainly for the convenience of I don't have to drive an hour and a half to go to the stupid academy each way. I can do it from the comfort of my own home or my own office or whatever. That the day before you tell me I still have to go up there and get something, otherwise I'm not going to be able to be in the class. That just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very poorly planned. All of this sounds poorly planned. Every aspect of everything you've said sounds like they just did not know what they were doing.
So frustrating. And then it's funny because there's also multiple officer classes going on right now, but I had just finished officer class before the whole COVID thing went down, so I took the in-person one. Granted, I would have loved to take the online one, but officer class is one of those ones where for the last half of it, when you do a bunch of scenarios and you're actually acting out, acting out like real life situation fires and things like that. It's gonna be hard to do that virtually, but I guess they can make it work. But there's multiple of those going on as well right now.
Mm-hmm.
And two of my buddies, the fire department, are in them. And last night was a night class, and it's from 7 to 10, and I think it went from 7 until like 9:40 or something like that. He called up his other buddy that was at the station. It was because he was in a day class today, and told him like how it went, what to expect. Today, my buddy's in the day class. Class is 9 to noon. He texted me at 9:45 and said, "Day one's finished. I'm gonna head up to the academy and pick up my books now."
Wow.
So I am hoping, beyond hoping, that like my class, I do not want this class to be one of those 3-hour classes that I just have to sit there for 3 hours straight.
Right.
And some of the instructors, from what I'm hearing, are making you leave your videos on the entire time.
Oh my
so
gosh.
they can know that you're there. I won't know until tomorrow how my instructor is going to be about that.
Right. Hopefully not.
I'm hoping that I can just.
Yeah. So I got my daughter's report card the other day, and it breaks down how they decided end of year progression, and basically it sounds like
it was who could use Discord.
It was pretty much everyone that's in kindergarten through second grade is moving up almost regardless. It says, that it's at the teacher's discretion, but they passed a law basically in North Carolina that normal grading is not something that they're doing this year, basically. So it's just like up to the teacher. Do you think that the kid can move on, sort of thing? So I thought that was kind of interesting. But what's interesting about her class stuff is there's no way she was getting the same level of education she got at school. Like, I tried to do stuff beyond the daily classwork, but most days she would get up and she'd have her whole day's work done within an hour, basically. And it's like, this is supposed to be the same thing that would normally take you like 8 hours in a day, or like 7, 6, whatever, however fucking long they're at school. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like, how is it this, this is not the equivalent of whatever you were doing in the classroom.
But I guess at the same time, does it show that there's a lot of wasted time that happens, or does it show like, because self-learning is completely different than if your daughter didn't have like video lectures and it was just, here's what you need to accomplish. They could probably do the same thing in school, but I remember my college classes that I go to, it's not that I go there and they're like, here's the assignments, get them done, and then you can leave. It's, I talk about things that may or may not be relevant to what your assignments are for the lecture period.
Right.
So, and I agree with you. It's not the same level of education, because just teaching toward a test does not teach people all the fundamentals that they need to know. And you can't test everybody on every fundamental that they need to know. You basically teach them a bunch of stuff and you test them on random pieces of that stuff, because you hope you picked enough from each category that it means they had to learn all those areas.
Right.
Know that for a tester or for an assignment or whatnot. So, I mean, I'm afraid the self-directed stuff is probably going to be more, I did this toward, your daughter's doing stuff to finish what she's told she has to do, because it's very task oriented.
Right. Yeah.
You finish the task, then why would I do anything else? I'm done.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like each day, like, she missed all her resource type stuff too, like no PE, no art, they didn't do any of that at home. So I don't even know if those teachers were getting paid
or a pass in those classes or whatever it was.
I don't think those are things that you typically have to. I don't think you get a grade in those classes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember ever seeing those on her report card as like, this is what the art teacher says, or this is what PE says. So I don't think that that's a thing that they do at that age, basically. So I guess it doesn't matter. But I wondered, like, are those teachers still getting paid? Like, is the art teacher, the computer science teacher, and all those people, were they still getting paid, or were they like on furlough during that time, since they didn't have any, anything to send the kids to do? So I was kind of wondering about that, librarian, that sort of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, did they lay off a bunch of the teachers? I mean, but honestly, like, your teacher, is she? It's funny because I say this. I teach an online class, but it's an asynchronous learning online class, so I don't lecture to them. I set out tasks and assignments and reading stuff, and they have to accomplish it. So I really don't do. I don't do as much physical work on a daily basis as somebody that you have to go in and hear a lecture from.
Mm-hmm. What were you
But
going
on
to ask
paper,
about my daughter's teacher?
I was going to ask, yeah, they're not doing lectures, you said, though, right?
So no, but what they are doing is an optional call-in twice a week. They're not. I mean, now it's summer. This is the first week of summer, first full week of summer. Into school last week was Wednesday.
She must be so excited. She gets to not go to school. Oh.
Right? Yeah, it's like nothing really. The only thing that's changed is she can stay up late at night, basically. So she's enjoying that. She's back here playing with Legos right now. She's actually grounded from electronics today because so she probably would be playing Minecraft if it was a normal day, but this little bitch, she got she didn't get in trouble a couple weeks ago. I will let her watch YouTube videos as long as I watch them with her. And I may have talked to you about this particular series. She's watching these two kids that play games together, Minecraft, some of them. And she was watching this one video where like their parents dress up as like, do you see that game Hello Neighbor? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there's this one video where like they have a fucking whole Hello Neighbor costume. And anyways, something about it scared her. She said later. She didn't say it while we watched. We watched it. Everything was fine. We watched some other videos. But then that weekend she went to her mom's house and they were trying to get her to clean Oreo's cage and she wouldn't stay in her room and she refused to clean the cage, saying that she was scared to be in her room alone because of those videos. And so Crystal had texted me like, what the fuck she watching on YouTube? And I was like, there wasn't anything wrong with that video. Like, it was just it's made by two like 8-year-olds. They're like kids that are her age. And I was like, I'm pretty sure she's just using an excuse to get out of doing her chores, really. But as a result of all that, I told my daughter, I was like, listen, I don't know if you were trying to get out of your chores or if you were genuinely scared, but either way, we're not going to watch those videos anymore. So if you were lying and to get out of your chores, now you no longer have that source of entertainment and maybe you'll learn from that. But if you were scared, you probably shouldn't be watching it. So there's the thing. So
logical reasons for both, whether a kid understands it or not, we'll find out.
Right. She seems to be pretty logical. Like even whenever she'll explain like cause and effect to me, like sometimes I'm kind of taken aback by her logic. So
Found an elytra. Should I steal it?
Take it. It's yours now. So the other day, like Monday, yesterday, yesterday. She takes her iPad and she goes back to her room and says she's going to go call her mom. And I was like, all right, that's fine. I was cooking supper, and so I get done cooking supper and I go back to her room. This is a side thing. We can talk about this in a second. But when I was telling the story to my Discord, they were like, "You let her close her door?" And I'm like, "What?" So anyways, we can talk about that in a minute. But so I open up her bedroom door and I tell her the supper's ready. And when I do, she does that kid in the candy jar sort of thing. She panics, tries to I can see she's trying to close apps on her laptop, on her iPad. And when that doesn't work, she's trying to mute it, and it's like she's doing all these things. She's just in a panic, and I'm like, well, she's doing something wrong. And I've got the parental controls and stuff set up on the iPad, so there's no YouTube, there's no Safari, there's none of that stuff. So I was just like, what the fuck is she doing on this iPad that's so scandalous? So I'm like, what are you trying to hide? And she freaks out, rolls over on the iPad and just starts crying. And I'm like, let me have it. Well, what are you doing that you're not supposed to be doing? And she wouldn't tell me. And so I take the iPad from her and I open it up. And she has figured out how to use the school's app, Seesaw is what it's called. Because in Seesaw, you can send links to YouTube videos and other things like the other media. And her teacher had done that at several points. She's figured out how to get the YouTube app open through Seesaw and then change the URL to go watch these fucking kids through the school's app. Because her iPad's locked down. Because the iPad's really mainly just for school, and I've also made it where she can text me and her mom, basically. So part of me was like, wow, that's pretty fucking smart. But at the same time, I was like, you were told you weren't allowed to watch these things, and so you're grounded from electronics for the next day. And even just a few minutes ago, she's like, well, once it's midnight, that's the next day. And I'm like, no, we're not doing any technically midnight. So
I'm pretty impressed that she could figure that out so easily. But is that something? I guess it's summer now, but should you let the school know?
Right. I did think about that. I was like, well, I probably should let them know that there's a flaw. It's not the school's app. It's a commonly used app for schools. There's two. There's Classroom Dojo, and then there's Seesaw. And those are the two that are mostly used by the teachers.
Well, how does it not? Well, I guess it can't block out content just to YouTube because they probably use YouTube videos for
right.
some
Yeah.
of their teachings and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There were several occasions where she would link her to a YouTube video or whatever. That would be part of that day's lesson. So yeah, I was a little bit impressed, but I didn't tell her. I was kind of like, wow, you're fucking smart, damn it. But at the same time, you know, it's like, you know, and I told her, I was like, she's like, I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared anymore. And I was like, I don't think you ever were scared. I think you're trying to get out of your chores. So I'm pretty sure she never was scared. Honestly, I think that was always a lie. But yeah, that was it was pretty ingenious, her little workaround.
I do find the whole concept of chores and trying to get out of them so funny because as a kid, I didn't have insane chores that took an inordinate amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you know, on Saturdays I had to go clean like one of the bathrooms in our house. It was my responsibility to clean the bathroom. We had to like vacuum the floor. My sister and I had to vacuum like the house.
Right.
If we did it, it took us like half an hour tops. Yet we would do whatever we can to try to get out of.
Yeah, I remember that too. Like taking the trash out was one of mine. That shit, I probably procrastinated twice as long as it takes to pick up the bag and take it outside.
Right. It's just it's one of those things. It's like why didn't I just do it?
I have a scar on the top of my foot to this day where a broken beer bottle was in the trash. When we lived in Texas, and when I was taking the trash out, I had like rested it on my foot halfway to the can or whatever, and this beer bottle just slices the top of my foot open. I just bled profusely everywhere, and then after that, I would constantly be like, "I can't take out the trash. What if you cut me again?"
Like, did you say that to the trash?
No, to my mom and them. Blame them. I would bring it up like years later. Like, look at the scar. You remember that time I got cut by your beer bottle? So yeah. So what do you think about kids being able to shut their door though? That was
I mean, I guess it depends on how old they are. I wouldn't let Jack go upstairs and play in his room with his door shut for long. I would let him and then I would come up here and like kind of peek on what he was doing.
Right.
But
he's what, 3, 4 now?
He's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I've not heard of it being a big crazy problem, so I'm a little confused too.
I didn't know either. Like whenever they were like, "You let her shut her door," I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, what the fuck? Why not?" I mean, the truth is, she's at the other end of the house. Her door could be wide the fuck open. It's just the same. It's the same as being shut. Like I have no way of knowing what she's doing in there unless I go down the hallway, turn the corner, and then see what's in her, you know, what's going on in her room. And plus she's got the bunny in the little hallway outside of there, and she doesn't want the bunny in her room because, you know, they destroy everything.
Well, and that's what I was thinking too. The people who are so crazy about you can't let her shut her door. I mean, if their kid is in their room, are they just constantly making sure they're somewhere where they have a visual line of sight?
Yeah, I know. That's the main person that was talking about it doesn't actually have any kids, so I guess maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I was a little surprised, and but then I took it further and like
we put the baby in his crib and shut the door, and it's not because we don't want to make enough noise to wake him up.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, like
okay,
whenever she's like,
we'll check on him with the camera.
Yeah.
We don't keep the camera just on at all times, though. It's not one of those things.
Like I'd be fine. Like I said this in the Discord yesterday too. Like once she's like 13 or however old she is, when she starts dating, having a boyfriend or whatever, I would be fine with them going back to her room as long as the door's open. That's when the door needs to be opened for me, is whenever there's like a boy over sort of thing. But I'm not gonna like try to keep her from, you know, spending time with her boyfriend without me being right up her ass. I think she's educated enough to not have babies. I mean, she's already understands how all that shit works at 8 years old. So I don't know. I don't think she's gonna go try to make babies, especially after after she's been traumatized by Oreo and his constant need to make babies.
It reminds me of that comedian. Oh God, I wish I could remember which comedian it was, but he said that like he and his wife were like watching a movie. And like partway through the movie, his wife stopped and
It's Tim Minchin.
You know exactly what it's about. We've probably talked about this before.
Yeah. The Tim Minchin's the comedian you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, you tell fish tell rest story for those that don't know because it's funny.
Yeah. Basically, it's that she's worried that they hadn't heard the baby in a while. What if something happened to the baby? What if the baby's dead? And the response is, if the baby's dead, the baby will still be dead in half an hour. And at least right now, we can enjoy the rest of the movie without knowing the baby's dead.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite bits by him. He doesn't really do comedy anymore. It's kind of funny because he always wanted to be a musician and he didn't make it as a musician. So he became a comedy musician and now he's just transitioned to full on musician. He basically got, popular through his comedy and now he just does concerts. There are some comedy bits mixed in, but for the most part, he's just writing fucking love ballads and shit.
That's an interesting route to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
I love musical comedians.
Me too. Like, Bo Burnham.
Oh my God, who's like? I feel like I'm gotten old like immediately and just like I can't remember anything anymore.
Was it not Bo Burnham?
No, that's not what I was thinking of. I'm thinking of the guy who sings a song called "My Big Fat Friend."
I don't know this one.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what is his name? He is one of the funniest.
I think Tim was my favorite, but I think Bo was replaced
Stephen
Tim.
Lynch. Jesus Christ. Stephen Lynch, that's it.
Huh. I haven't listened to any of Stephen Lynch's stuff.
Oh my God, yeah. Stephen Lynch's that's the song She's Got a Smile is what it's called, but it's My Big Fat Friend is what everybody really knows it as. That's the one that I had heard the first time and got like hooked because I thought it was hilarious. But he has some of the darkest like comedic songs that will just make you cringe and laugh at the same time. Like it's just like you need to listen to some Stephen Lynch.
I give him a try.
He's good.
I think my favorite. Do you know the Tim Minchin Prejudice song?
Is it the one about red-haired people?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
That one's the play on words there is just so well done. But I really like a lot of. Do what?
Showed me that in Texas.
Yes, we did. Yes, at PAX. Yes, absolutely.
And then we had a really weird conversation about why you guys both hated Chromecasts. And
oh boy, I still do.
My God, Chromecasts are like the best things that have ever existed.
I'm gonna get one for my bedroom, but I'm not certain that the network will reach back there and make it work. I recently changed. Oh, that's an interesting story. I changed. So I told you about my internet being fucky and them charging me $485, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they came out yesterday. They're supposed to come out last Friday. They just didn't show up, and so they came out yesterday finally to bring the new modem and to do the install and to collect the cable box because I'm no longer paying for 2 cable boxes. I just got one. That's just why I need the Chromecast in my bedroom because there's no longer a cable box back there. But I open the door and he's standing there with the modem in his hand and stuff, and he doesn't have a mask on. And I'm like, he's like, I'm here to install your cable box. And I'm like, oh, cool. You got a mask? And he looks at me like he doesn't know what planet he's on anymore. And I'm like,
what's a mask?
Yeah. And I actually thought that's what he thought at first. I thought maybe he thought I was like, this isn't Halloween or anything. So I was like, a face mask. And I put my hand up to my mouth and he goes, I know what a mask is. And I go, okay, you got one? And he goes, I don't know. I'll go look and see if I got one in my car. And so he goes, he's out of his car like for 10 minutes. And I'm like, motherfucker, they're not just going to appear. Like either you got one or you don't. Like you should know, right?
He's like, how do I make this napkin into a mask?
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing in his car for all this time. But he comes back, he's like, I don't have a mask. And I'm like, well, you can come back when you do. Because, like, you can't come to my house without a mask. And you probably think I'm crazy for this, but that's just how I am. So he's like, I don't know when I'll be able to come back. And I'm like, well, can you just give me the modem and leave? Do you need to come in my house? And so we end up working out where I provisioned my modem while he stood outside and made sure everything worked right. But I just thought that was crazy. Like, I can't believe they're sending workers out to go into people's houses without masks.
Policy is not to do that.
Right.
Every company at this point is talking about contactless stuff, or if there's something they have to do there about wearing masks and this and that. So I guarantee whatever company works, if you called them, they would be like, yeah, absolutely not what we told him to do.
Right. Yeah, you're probably right. It just was very surprising to me, and just opened the, because I was worried about this the day before. I was like talking to people online when I was streaming. I was like, man, what if he shows up and doesn't have a mask? And they were like, nah, there's no way. And everyone was like, nah, I just got stuff done at my house the other day, and everyone's got masks and blah blah blah. I was like, y'all, this is North Carolina. I don't know, man. And then sure enough, he showed up without a mask.
Did it fix your problem?
So I didn't really have a problem. Well, I have been getting weird DCs, and I don't know still if that's going to be a thing. Because it only happens like whenever we do Don't Starve Together that I notice it happening. But I wasn't really having a problem. It just basically my new internet that I'm paying for now that's not $485 a month is faster, and my modem that I had wouldn't support the new speeds. So they had to give me a new modem to support these speeds, basically.
How much are you paying for that modem?
I'm not paying. So with business class, you cannot use your own modem. I have my own modems, but they won't let me use them. But they don't charge a monthly fee for the modem, other than the fact that you're paying monthly for the internet.
I was gonna say, because I think if they charge you a monthly fee for the modem, like they have to let you use your own if you can get a supporting one. I think it's
I think you're right. Because when I had non-business class internet, I did just always buy my own modems because I wasn't going to pay the $5 or $10 a month, which is just fucking stupid.
Most places.
Oh my god, that's so dumb.
How much it's gone up in the last 3 years.
That's so dumb. But yeah, my new internet is $600 down, $35 up, and it's $160 a month, which is still expensive. But
yeah.
Yeah, but that does include cable TV. But what's funny, if I get it without the cable TV, it's $240 a month.
Yeah, they always do those packages, which I never understood.
Right. It's like, why do I have to have more service from you? Like, is it a denial of service sort of thing? Denying other companies from moving in on their territory sort of thing? What was funny is when I called Charter the first time, whenever I realized that I had not been paying for internet at all for 3 years, to call them and ask them why my bill had changed, I'm on the phone on hold with the woman, and someone starts knocking on my front door. And it's raining outside, too, and it's like coming down pretty hard. And so I go and answer the front door, and it's a guy from Spectrum. And I'm like, hello? It was weird because I'm on hold with Spectrum, right?
He's like, you called?
Yeah. And he's like, I see you canceled your service 2 years ago. I was calling to see if maybe, we got some good deals right now. Maybe we give you some good deals. And I'm like, I didn't cancel my service. I'm on hold with you right now. What are you talking about? I was like, because suddenly y'all are charging me a lot more. He's like, well, we do got new deals. Here's my card and all this. So it was just very weird, like the timing on that one. But
so I didn't think the door to door.
Right, I was surprised that too. He also wasn't wearing a mask.
He probably wasn't wearing anything that identified him as a Charter guy either.
No, he was definitely a Spectrum guy. Yeah, well, he had the blue Spectrum shirt, and he gave me a card, which I mainly leave on the table. He tried to hand me the card, and I was like, "You can just leave it on the table out there." I feel like I'm the only one that still knows Corona is a fucking thing. I was responding to people on the Raleigh Reddit yesterday because, yeah, the beer. I was responding to people yesterday in the Raleigh Reddit because they were talking. North Carolina, we've been breaking records every fucking day this month for most new cases. And everyone on the Reddit, I don't know where these people are getting their fucking information, and it pisses me off because they all spew the same fucking bullshit, which is, well, we've increased testing at a rate that the number of cases percentage-wise actually hasn't gone up. And it's like, the motherfucking data is available for you right here. Do you not own a calculator? You can see that at the start of phase 1, our daily percentage rate was 5%, and now it's close to 11. Like, why are you spewing whose line is this, and why do you keep reposting it?
It's basically the same.
Makes me so mad. It's like I did all the math for them basically in the Reddit yesterday, and I posted on there was 3 threads about coronavirus in the Reddit, and I posted the same thing almost on all 3 threads. I posted, depending on who I was responding to, I modified it, but I basically. What'd you say?
You seen if you're banned yet?
No, I'm not. But this one guy went off on me why do you keep spewing the same bullshit on every fucking thread? And I was like, I'm sorry if the math hurts your brain, but these are the facts. You can't dispute them. This is the data, and this is what the data shows. I'm so mad.
I didn't know you would see my reply.
Yeah. I went and looked at some of his other replies, and he's also the guys that are, anti-protests, and he was also in some other thread saying that the virus numbers have only gone up because all the people out there protesting and they deserve it and all this. It's like protests haven't been around long enough for them.
That's what I was going to say. There's a couple things with that is he might be right that they will go up because of the protests.
Right.
but that wouldn't have happened just yet. It's going to be showing soon if that's the case.
Right.
But absolutely nobody deserves it because they went to the protests.
Right.
I mean,
All of that was just ignorance. All of this makes me very angry whenever people can't. To me, it's not a hard concept to just look at graphs and gather the information from what's being portrayed. Like, I don't understand. I just don't think. I think people, they heard a talking point somewhere and they're just repeating it over and over again. The percentages are the same.
I don't want to do any thinking. So spoon feed me what you want me to hear.
Right.
And that's what I will tell everybody.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. That's absolutely what happened. It's frustrating me to death. I just want to be Corona less. I want to go back to going places and doing things, but I'm also not the kind of person that's like, I'm going to protest because I can't get a haircut. That shit's so fucking stupid to me.
My God, I got a haircut today and it feels wonderful. It feels so good.
I was waiting in line at the pharmacy yesterday, like the drive-through at the pharmacy, and it's right beside a Great Clips, and there was 6 people outside in these chairs that were all 6 feet apart. And it's funny because I was in line for fucking ever, and when I finally get up there, they, like, 2 of my grandma's prescriptions weren't ready, so they told me to come back in 10 minutes. So I go and pull around the parking lot, and it was funny because 3 of the people I'd seen sit out there in front of Great Clips, they had the longest damn hair. They were like 2 teenage kids and this older woman. And while we're waiting that 10 minutes in the parking lot, I guess they had got done with their haircut, and they come out. And they basically, like, they almost got like a buzz cut. Like, their hair's like super fucking short. And it's just like this. It's funny to me because how far they went with that haircut from like this very long hair to like just super short.
Yeah. No, it felt good to get this haircut. It was so
I mean, I would love to have a haircut, but the thought of someone standing over me, breathing their Corona on top of my head, can't do it. I treat everyone as if they have Corona.
Yeah, I just deal with so many people that
I know. You're out in the world, and so you see it differently, I guess. And I'm not.
Well, I think it's just that my guard is down because I deal with it so much. Like,
right. That's probably not a good way to be, honestly.
No, it's absolutely not a good way to be. But I'm way less afraid. It's so funny. A friend of mine who's in Florida. Florida's been open for 3 or 4 weeks now, and she just told me, she was like, I went out today to a restaurant it was the first time I've basically been out of my house to anywhere except to the grocery store to get like the essentials that I need since this whole thing started. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you need to go out. You've been open for 3 weeks now.
I mean, that's, to me, the more we open, the less I want to go out. I'm the opposite. Because the more that's open, the more people are out there getting infected. Like in the state, we have the highest number of people infected that we've had since it started months ago. So now,
it's the same number.
So to me, now is the worst time. I felt more comfortable going out back in fucking March than I do now, basically.
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh God! So yesterday, we need to finish this episode, by the way, but yesterday I ordered food from Whole Foods. It's the only place that delivers here. For Oreo. It wasn't even for me. It was for Oreo. So I ordered like arugula, some parsley, some cilantro, stuff like that, and some raspberries. I was gonna eat some of the raspberries, but most of them for him. But for one thing, they can't bring fucking raspberries to my house that aren't rotten. I don't know where they're getting these rotten raspberries, because I feel like when I go to the store, even though I may pick through a few, there might be one bad raspberry, but this whole fucking carton was just molded. It's like, where did you find this molded box of raspberries? Anyways, so this morning, I'm reading the news. That same fucking Whole Foods that I got my food from got shut down yesterday because 19 cases of COVID with their employees.
So are you throwing all that food away?
No, I cleaned everything whenever on my porch. Nothing comes in my house until the outsides of it has been cleaned. I don't clean the greens, obviously, because they're going to the rabbit. I clean the package they're in. And if they're in like a bag, I take them out of that bag and put them into a new bag. And then I wash my hands. And I wash my hands after feeding them to the rabbit and stuff too. So I'm conscious of the fact that they might, but I feel like the surface of food's less likely to carry it for an extended period of time anyways. It's more the packaging I'm worried about, but I take care of that all outdoors and then come in and wash my hands. Don't touch any doorknobs or anything on my way to the sink, etc. I have a process.
Somebody's got a minecart system set up in here. I want to know where it goes.
Well, we're 40 minutes in, so we got to leave.
And you didn't even want to do this episode.
I know. I said there's nothing to talk about. We'd stay here and ramble for 40 minutes. This is it, though, y'all. We're gonna see you in the next season. Maybe we'll do a CTM in between if we can find a good one.
I feel like I'm riding an old school minecart track. Like
Really?
it's just got like 10 rails and then a powered rail and then 10 rails and then a powered rail and now I'm at a switch station. I don't know what this switch station is for, but I'm at it.
Wow.
I don't know who
Jeff's on an adventure, y'all.
Yeah.
Well,
see you guys next time.
see you next season, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.